Hello, everybody. This is Blender.Today 2020 live number 86, or
Wow.
the first episode of the third season of Blender.Today. Is
The
it?
third?
Yeah, I think so. So, my name is Pablo Vazquez,
My name is Dalai Felinto.
and we are back here in another decade. Yes, I'm one of those that thinks this is a new decade, and it's there's so much to cover. I'm just back from the holidays. There has been a bit of over a month without news, but in that period of time, there was a new Blender release, 2.81a. It's a corrected release, only bug fixes. There was a Blender 2.82, which was alpha when I left. Now it's in beta, so it's not getting any new updates,
Features,
but only features. But she's fixes to the already added features, which are insane, and we're gonna see in a bit. And on top of that, 2.83 started alpha. So what does it all mean? So let's focus on 2.82 for the time being, because there's so many huge features that people ask here every week. In one episode, I can just take them off the list.
At least I think today, since it was a bit of short notice, maybe we don't have a backlog of questions, so we can cover more content because I have more content to cover anyways.
Yeah, how's that's actually a good point. Let's go through them, because I think the big one, the one that everybody's been asking for, even though it's it sounds simpler.
But it's been how long in development? You're talking about the 4-letter feature.
Yeah, it's the 4-letter one, the U word. The U dimension. That's what it means, I think.
Yes,
UDIMs.
Yeah,
so UDIMs. Even though there's a new physics system and stuff, the people are more excited about the UDIMs. They finally made it to Blender 2.82. So the upcoming release, the one that is coming around February-ish.
That, as always, can already be checked if you go to builder.blender.org and download it.
Yes, you can get it there. So let's jump into here to the actual.
And you can get that from download as well.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
so
But it's just Happy New Year. This is the one thing that I did when I was at home. There's this. So 2.81a, if you haven't updated the 2.80, you can download 2.81. You can get the corrective release. But if you want to have fun, you can check BuildBot, which by going to builder.blender.org/download, you can check the 2.82 beta or alpha. They both have UDIMs, of course, because alpha is on top of what is 2.82 beta, but the beta would be a bit more stable, remember?
And of course, it's not even more stable. I'm thinking about things that are, it can be more stable. But I must be working on things that are only 2.83 because we just passed the feature window. That doesn't mean they're less stable necessarily. Yeah. It's just that people that are making documentation, people that are learning what changed, they don't need to worry about what just was committed to master.
Exactly. So people ask, doesn't seem like the front of the office. No, actually we moved. This is a temporary place. Yeah, I know it looks like my living room, but it's a temporary place. Actually, we're going to build soon, in a matter of weeks, a dedicated room for Blender.Today. It's not my office, not anybody's office. It's only for live streams / tutorials for Blender Cloud. So it's gonna be super neat, but it's work in progress. So here we are. Now Alai is actually on the office. I
am. It's so incredible.
My previous office. So look at this amazing creature by Daniel Beisted. This creature, actually, we already seen it in the very first live stream we did together in the Blender Developers YouTube channel. This time, we are back on this file because Daniel Beisted, it's awesome enough to have updated this file to use UDIMs.
It's almost the other way around because his workflow and his pipeline involves UDIM, because of the other software he uses.
Oh, okay.
So he had to have this whole workaround to have on. I don't know if you remember the Node 3 he had.
Oh, yeah.
You take the UV and shift around. But now he said, you know what? It's time to do it the right way.
That's interesting. That's even better. So if I'm gonna hide here this part, so we make some room here. That was a license, by the way. If you download this file, which we can make available, that contains the license. But here, so this is what matters. We have, you select an image, and this image, the options of the image that you selected in the image viewer, image editor, or the UV editor as well, will contain tiles if it's a image type or the source type is tiled. This took me a while to figure out when I was trying to make it from scratch, because I had it set to single image. So single image is one image. Image sequence is like for image for a video, or an animation.
Movies also.
Movies also, but it's a movie file. It's an AVI, MP4, etc. Generated is the one inside of Blender, and tiled is the one that is gonna show these panel UDIM tiles where you can select and edit and remove the UDIM tiles. So you start with 101, 1001, 2, 3, 4, and then you can add more as you go. So if you add one, it's gonna automatically name the next tile with the following number, 1006, or
you can do
if you want a new layer.
if you want something vertical.
If you want something vertical, you start with 101.
No. It was 10 increments of. No, it was 2000.
It's 1,000.
With tests and. Nope, it was 10.
It's 10.
It was 10. So do like 1011, for example.
Ah, that makes sense. Ah, yeah, of course, yes.
And then bang.
1001. I got it wrong. I'm still learning. This is too industry standard for me. You know, I'm a bit of the. These concepts escape me. So if you want to add more tiles, you can add, and it will. This should actually start with 11, right? It should have the first one.
I think so, because the active one is.
It should be
11.
on the active one. So you can do, for example.
Yeah, there are a few things to be polished and fixed. That's the whole idea of the beta. That now more people are encouraged to test it.
Yes.
And to say the documentation is still nowhere to be seen. But Lucas Stockner promised that he was working on this last night and I guess today to finish.
Oh.
So it should be there somewhere. And then we can have, try to find these small bugs in there.
Yeah, or like little improvements.
You know what really shines when you change to the UV edit mode?
Oh.
Because then you can see how the UV, is
shows with different parts. So when you add a tile, you can set the number manually, or you can also set a count. So it's gonna add a number of tiles following this tile. So by default is filled with a basic color, or you can just not have it and it's going to be empty. You can have a label as well.
What is the empty? What does it show?
Well, let's find out. There you go. So now I added and it's just empty. So you need to fill the tile with something, right? With some content, or not. How do you specify an image for that?
You don't. There's not such an image, but you can have instead of blank the UV check.
Or you bake it, for example. You bake to that
as a start point. Oh, of course you can if you save as, and then if you load it back, then they're going to reload the image.
Yeah. So I switched to the UV editing workspace, and if I start UV editing here, you'll see that I am editing this tile, right? Yes. So you can see here. Oh, I'm in. Sorry. The UV editing had the previous. Because this file is super old. I think the UV editor didn't even exist back then. So here. So we can see the whole mesh.
This is so nice.
This is super nice. Yeah, you can select them and it gets orange, highlighted, and super neat. So amazing. That is UDIM's
Blender 2.82.
2.82 coming to a Blender near you. That's so nice. Look at that.
And right now it's compatible with texture painting. Performs always a bit.
Yeah, you can actually texture paint directly from here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which editor were we before? I don't remember.
We were on the
here on the shading. But if you switch to, for example, well, I don't know the file enough to actually don't mess it up to add the colors. But believe us, UV painting in UDIMs works directly. Super neat.
Out of the box. And it's compatible with Cycles, it's compatible with Eevee.
Eevee and Cycles.
Also the tools with baking, I think, as well.
Baking. You can bake to UDIMs.
Yeah, so we can bake to different UDIMs. The same ways as before, you could have different materials in the same object, and each material might be mapped to a different external file.
Yeah.
You can do now that with UDIM.
Ha. That is okay. That shows a bit more. Before, when I first heard about it, it was like, whoa, why is it so big? Why is it? No, okay.
It's
So
big.
painting, baking, all into the one file is super neat.
Which also why it took so long for it to be finished and merged in Blender and everything else. But we have it.
Yeah, we have it. So if you use this number, this value, these IDs, then it will be picked up by Blender automatically. So these number tiles that you see here have to correlate with the ones over here. So when you save it, for example, it's going to save with these
Suffixes.
All right, so super awesome. We are getting there. Industry standardness, we're getting there. So okay, the next feature that was added, the next big thing, it's Mantaflow, right?
Mantaflow.
Mantaflow.
It's like manta ray
Ah, okay.
from the animal.
Makes sense. So Mantaflow, you have a file ready for that, right?
We do the one that Andy did.
Yes,
Shared.
it's on your user. So what is Mantaflow? Well, I'll search for this.
It's on our user, not mine.
Okay.
On the recent.
What is
Mantaflow is a fluid simulation system that's supposed to give you more control and better performance over the existing system we have in Blender, which was really outdated and no one's really maintaining it. So over the course of 2 years, we had 2 Google Summer of Code projects where Sebastian Vazquez took to him to implement this system, which was developed in the academia by Nick. I forgot his last name. And now it's part of Blender.
It's awesome.
Andy just said, "No, let me try it and find some bugs and everything."
So, bam.
That's so nice.
So yeah, okay. What are we looking at here? Okay, this. So we have a domain and we have a mesh here, and this old Mantaflow, it's a replacement of the whole
entirely
fluid system.
Replaced of the old system.
What about, oh, okay. It also crash Blender here. But, okay, that is work in progress, guys. It really is. That's why it's in beta. That's why in beta. Okay, let's add a monkey and let's make it a quick effects, quick fluid. And if I bake this guy into the particles.
Maybe it's worth telling people that the old system,
Physics.
we had some real-time preview on the viewport. Right now, we have to bake it beforehand.
There is no way around it?
Not at the moment anyways. So just people quickly testing should be aware of that. And are you baking?
I am baking, yes, because I just learned that I can't just preview it in the... Well, baking, it's more reliable anyway. What you see in the viewport is nice for feedback, but yeah.
And to make sure the simulation always runs from the first frame and everything.
Ooh, what are those colors?
Those
By
are...
default?
How do I know?
Let's see if I find it. Is there a viewport panel? Nope.
What do you mean by viewport panel? You have the...
No, like a viewport...
What is the flip? I think it's creating automatically a new particle only for the visualization, which was the old flip, which used to be
This is the flip method, liquid, yes.
Yeah, but but that's a domain. The domain's not what to bake, right? To bake the other object, no?
This is the one that has the... Yeah. Okay.
Source.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. That's
While
probably
it's
in the domain
showing it
itself.
in
No,
the-
you bake
yeah.
in the domain, so it should be in the domain.
Yeah, it should be... we can see there.
Oh,
There's
you can
so
change
many...
the font and check this out.
What?
You can have a different setup for a different particle system for font and spray and bubbles.
Oh, that's nice. So foam, and then you can make foam. You can make bubbles, and you can spray.
I haven't really used it. I know Andy was using it, and
Okay,
enjoying
that's crazy. Well, bake particles, and who knows what this is gonna do? Oh,
looks so nice.
beautiful.
Also, on top of the initial simulation, it generates fun on top of it. And bubbles. Did you set bubbles as well?
Yeah, that's so cool. And I actually like this feature to resume the baking, so you don't have to guess before you have to guess from where start, and then interesting. So let's see what it makes. I just press buttons and start baking the fluids. So let's see. Bam.
Looks so nice. If you go to the particle system panel, what do you see there?
To the particle system panel. Let's see.
You are-
Particle system. Ah, it added its own automatically.
So it can have each one can have its own spawn its own objects with their own materials and their own settings. So we have a lot of control over that.
Wow. Yeah, in the previous system we couldn't do foam reliably. There was some fake foam, but we couldn't do bubbles. That's for sure.
Can probably even hide the basic.
Oh, the basic. So let's
But
hide
then how
both.
you do it? Yeah.
No, it's just the whole thing. Each one activates the whole thing. Okay,
To
work
be
in progress.
determined.
Work in progress. But hey, exciting. At least physics-wise, does it affect smoke as well? No, smoke's not a fluid.
I think it does.
It does.
I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Let's find out, and that's why we're live from Amsterdam.
I know it's intended to replace it. I don't remember.
Let's see if the quick. Okay, I'm playing with fire here. People might hate me,
with
but
smoke.
yeah.
And it's baking.
And no, okay, it's not playing live, so it's Mantaflow. Because the other one used to. Okay, but now it's baking. Let's see.
It's supposed to replace the fire and the smoke and the liquid.
Okay.
And to be an unified simulation system.
Simulation system, yeah.
The main cache type.
Maybe the resolution is too big for the. Oh yeah, it's way too detailed. If you set Mantaflow domain cache type as reply, you can see simulation without bake as older system.
Probably replay. So the type of either in the comment or in the Blender interface.
Yeah. So where is that? Smoke type.
Type here. Fluid type. No, flow is probably.
Flow type. No, where is it? In the cache type. Wait, cache type. So in the domain, it must be here under cache type replay. There you go. Now we can see it.
So good. But is it creating the cache under the hood?
That's a very good question.
So
So now, okay, so now you get it, but yeah, I think the default settings is way too detailed because the other one was a bit more fun.
Why are you using the monkey instead of just a cube, Pablo?
Hey, I'm
real simple.
There you go. Now it's 32 subdivisions is a bit more acceptable, and the previous one was like 16. Okay, so that's why. So it's not that Mantaflow is slower. Actually, that the default settings were a bit too high for the.
If you switch to Eevee, does it show?
I'm in Eevee.
No, sorry. If you switch to material mode.
Cycles. To actual Eevee.
Look dev.
Ew, that's a very okay. Look dev. It actually shows up.
Yeah. Maybe it has a light, I guess.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. So nice. I was wondering what's the current.
Come on, you knew that. Preset. You're just showing off.
No, I didn't know what was the default material we had. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Actually, Eevee is showing this thing. Ooh. Okay. You got my attention.
Pretty cool, right?
You had my curiosity now. All right, so Mantaflow, a new physics system in Blender is now in place, 2.82. So go play with it and please report anything. I just had a crash, but I don't know what crashed it. So we have to look into it.
If you don't know what crashed, the crash didn't happen.
If a tree falls in a forest, but nobody hears it. All right. The next big thing that I can't really show because I didn't compile with it yet, but I have my own Blender here that I downloaded. It's in it's the next because today is like the industry standard day where I can show all the industry standardness that we're getting. UDIM was one of them. Now this one is export universal scene description. It's 3 letters. It's US.
That's how you're going to show the AO.
Oh, that's another industry. Jesus, so standard. Such standard. USD, Universal Scene Description. That is Pixar USD. It's not dollars. It's the introduction to if you read the logs here, there you go. USD. So it's a file format that contains information about your scene, but it's super powerful because it not only contains like just the mesh data and like an OBJ file, or basically it contains all your scene, including hair and curves, but also you can attach custom stuff. So it can talk to other softwares.
And it can handle overrides, at least originally. So you can have the same scene or the same object, but there are different variations of them, different materials. It's really powerful.
It's really powerful. You should check out this thread, the commit by Sebran. He's been working on it because it really goes through everything. You can see the limitations that has right now, how things are treated, how things are exported, or you can read the logs. Yes, the logs.
The
manual.
reference manual.
The manual, it's super complete. It shows, yeah, you can export meshes, cameras. Cameras are important. Lamps or lights, should be called, and hair.
Yeah, we renamed them for lights.
Yes.
Wide.
Yes. And hair, which is exported as curves, but is limited to parent strands.
So no child?
No child particles. I like that, actually, that decision, because it means that you can, like, the viewer, whatever viewer, can decide how to show the child particle. Because if you get a file with a million hairs, it's not really fun to
And it's important to notice that we're using USD only for what we call IO, input output, so only for exporting, and I believe importing as well.
Importing is not there yet.
Okay, so only exporting.
Yeah.
And in a more complete pipeline, USD is actually totally integrated with their asset. How do you call it? Asset pipeline.
Yeah.
Control system. I don't know.
Yes. The so the hair is limited to parent strands. It works for deformation, so you can export your whole scene. This is really important for Blender to work in studios, and they use USD for maybe rendering in a different system, for example. But you can export it from Blender. The import is gonna come. There is no time set yet, but I talked with Sebran today, and it was a very nice explanation because he worked on the Alembic exporter before, and then worked on USD exporter. And in USD, while making this one, he actually found ways to improve the exporter from Alembic. So he's now gonna, after USD, he's gonna go back to improve the Alembic exporter so they are a bit more similar, especially because we're gonna use Alembic for Cosmos Laundromat too.
Okay.
The next step is going to be the importer, because the Alembic importer is doing things in a good way, like in a better way, and then improve that, use it for USD. So they are both going to be a bit more connected, and they can share a bit more, all the depth graph stuff, all the things in the background. So that's pretty neat. USD, UDIM, physics. What else?
AOV?
AOB, shaders AOB. What is AOB? What does it stand for? Is arbitrary output variables or variables. So what does it mean? It's a custom path that you have on your that you can have on your image that can output anywhere or whatever step you are in your node, in your shaders. So what does it mean? For example, let's have a...
What do people use that for? Masks?
For masks, for anything really.
In a way, it can really replace baking, but maybe let's show first what it is.
This is a cycles. This is a cycles setting property feature. So the way it works is that in your shader, for example, I have here, I can add a little monkey here, and in this monkey, I'm going to have a shader, a material that has for example, this principal BSDF, but I also have a color, for example. So it's a, how is it called?
Go to input. It's not
how many inputs do we have? Now we have two colors.
It's RGB.
RGB. Yep. There you go. So RGB. And from here, for example, I have this color, I have my render. So yeah, it's red, it's very nice. I want to export this color, but I also have, for example, a checker texture, right? So because I'm fancy. So I have this checker texture, and I want to export. I want to change the color. So what if I want to have my object, my character, with both? I want to have a pass with both of them. I can now via, how do you call it?
Yeah.
Via.
In Argentina.
Yes, my Spanglish is killing me. So shader AOB, it's this setting that you can't see because of our faces, and here. So you add a new AOB.
I was going to get out of the way, but it doesn't really help, right?
No, we should have a green screen, so that way, yeah, I know we're working on it. The AOB here, what you see here is actually the name of this pass. So you can call it anything actually, and you can pick if it's going to be a color information or value. So value if you're working with the masks, with the black and white masks, for example, but color, it's usually what you're gonna use most of the time. So this AOB, you can make another one and then make another one. They still don't get named properly, so if you update the UI, it's gonna tell you like that there's no that it's not gonna work properly. Conflicts with another AOB with the same name. So you just name it to something else, and then you will stop complaining. Then in the shader itself, you can add a AOB output node in which you're going to type manually, like if it was 1994, the name of the AOB. It's gonna get a drop down, don't worry, but you can type manually the name and choose like, okay, I want the name it to be the checkerboard, and I want another output, maybe the one that is called AOB, and I call it anything, to have the red color, and maybe I want another one that has something cool, such as vertex color. This is nice because it means vertex color. So for example, if I have a vertex paint and let's make a mask of the eyes of the monkey, very detailed mask, and I want to have a pass, a pass. Sorry, my puberty is kicking in. I want to have a pass on my render that has this mask. You can connect the vertex color and make it this remaining one was vertex colors, and here let's add it. So now I have 3 AOBs and 3 nodes, output nodes that should export when I render.
And I'm gonna save before rendering, of course.
I'm gonna save of course I'm gonna save. Hey, is that how much you trust your software?
That's how we want to teach people to use Blender.
Yes,
always
exactly.
Save always save. Rendering.
Always save, especially if you're using unstable.
It's alpha, so it's beta software.
It's beta. So all right, let's render, but not in 1000%, but just smaller. Render. Bam! I just render. So actually, in my combined, let's leave the combined to something else. To something. There you go. So this is what I see in the render, and if I render, that's exactly what I see, but I want to see the other passes, and you can see here in the pass drop down that all the AOBs that I added there are on top of the common passes, like combined depth. If you have mist or cryptomat, they're gonna show up here, and you can see the other ones in action. That's insane.
So good.
Why is this useful? Because you can do compositing with it. So if you're here, you can see in the compositor that you can preview them. They're now part of this node. It's insane. It's awesome.
And it's probably integrated with everything. If you do stereo rendering, you're also gonna get these.
Of course, yeah. It's stereo especially.
So for you,
this is not an EV though.
No, it's not, because
reasons. What's stopping it from being an EV?
Well, I would have to ask the EV team,
because we don't have proper passes yet.
I'm trying to think if it's a limitation on there's an architectural limitation or not. But come on, we have in cycles already. I'd be happy.
So the future is to have both cycles and EV, but
Stop promising things. You're too nice, Pablo.
Why is there still 700 people? I announced this like 10 minutes before starting.
They miss you big time.
Thank you very much. I also miss doing this. It's crazy. But I'm mentioning all the good stuff now. Next week I'm gonna have nothing to talk about.
But they're gonna have 1,000 questions from then, and it's fine.
That's true. All right. So next big feature that I cannot show you here because my user preferences say that I don't have an OptiX compatible graphics card.
Yeah.
So I need to poke my boss to give me one. But for those of you lucky to have an NVIDIA RTX graphics card, you're gonna have a new denoiser, the OptiX AI. What?
No, someone's spamming the whole thing.
Who's spamming? Where are you going to offer UI that's more fitting?
Don't even give the attention.
Oh, somebody missing the UI.
No, but he's spamming. Anyways, if you want to take action, just take action.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is that at the moment we have two different ways of denoising now with this RTX. So we have the old, we call the Lucas denoise, the one that Lucas
denoiser, the cycles denoiser, the Blender denoiser.
And then the
Blender denoiser,
OptiX denoiser,
Open Image IO denoiser.
We have 3 denoisers?
We have 3 denoisers.
But this gives us like real-time options. But at the moment you have to choose them before you start rendering. And the ideal in the future, you're going to be able to, after you render, you can choose which of the options you want for denoising. So you can even compare them because you can never get it right. Sometimes you want a quick preview, then someone's going to be better. Sometimes you have a very... they call high density. How do you call it? High density.
High frequency.
High frequency.
Yes.
Textures. So, and it's gonna be super nice. I know Brecht wants to work on that because I mean it's easier for him to handle it than to have Lucas and Patrick coordinating their work. Those are the 2 developers who contributed each of the denoise system. So it's gonna be cool.
Super nice. So the future is a bunch of denoisers, not just one that rules them all, like the ring, right?
Yeah. And maybe even more. I mean, Blender's always open for new development, cutting edge technology.
Yes.
And this is just a good example of this.
Yes.
So exactly. Good work, OptiX team, and good work, Blender team.
Yes, I'm gonna test it, and actually on the new studio that we're, I'm selling something that doesn't exist, but on the new studio that we're gonna have for Blender.Today 2020. But that's gonna happen. I'm gonna ask them to give me an RTX, at least maybe a 2060. Ask Francesco if he can beg Ton to sign the. No, we can use it for rendering. We can put it on the farm and use it for rendering actually. So yes, I actually have an RTX at home.
It's all good.
I actually have an RTX at home thanks to the box people. So nice. All right. So I think I cover most of the big ones so far. We can there is actually even more additions that we can cover, but I don't even know for how long we've been talking. 44 minutes.
44 minutes. Are you going to show the curfew or people don't care about that?
Yes. I think it's a good moment. Let's show. Okay, we've been talking for 44 minutes. I think we're like having a 10-minute Q&A is not gonna be the ideal for this because there's so much going on. So maybe we can leave it for the next week and continue showing the features, the ones that are the one more feature and then the backtracker curfew.
Okay.
And then we can ask reply questions from the live stream. Mantaflow versus Flip fluids. Actually, Mantaflow is based on Flip, so same. You don't have to choose.
I think they mean the paid add-on,
which is also using the same system under the hood, right? Or is it called Flip and it's not using Flip?
I have no idea. I wish I knew. But I know that we have Flip in the interface in Blender. So Flip is a feature of Mantaflow. I don't know. Sometimes we just don't know it. Sorry.
All right.
Some people asking about VR.
VR stuff. Do you know any updates about the VR?
I know that Julian Iso is working on it, and we still plan to have the first milestone in maybe 2.83. I think we can do it in 2.83 or 2.84. I think 2.83.
There's already new cool things lined up, right, for 2.83, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the thing. It's so nice.
This edition. It's super nice. this because it won't be a Blender Today if we don't mention Pablo Navarro, right? So this this demo here looks very simple, but it's gonna blow your mind. It was prepared by Julian Kasper, so thank you, Julian. And here, so what do we see here? We see a little strand, but from here we're gonna make it something crazy, like for hair, for a tail, or when you wanna like move a piece of geometry, but also twist it and do crazy things with it. Let's see. I have a the post brush, which was added time ago already for 2.82. It's for 2.81 actually.
2.81, but without the
new setting
kinematic,
inverse kinematic or IK. So IK is a it's what the like a chain of when you do rigging, you use IKs, for example, to move to stack the and I don't know, your hand on a wall and then being able to move the rest, and it will move very nicely, like if it was an actual, you know, doing not physics but actually bending and properly. So inverse kinematics is now applied to the post brush, and by default you're not gonna see it because you have to specify how many IK segments do you want in this chain. So if you have one, there is no inverse kinematic, so you can move the whole thing basically, you know, from the top of the from the size of the brush. So if I have the brush really big, I can just basically move the whole thing, which is not very exciting.
Not impressive.
Not impressive. So I can move one by one. Yeah, okay, not impressive. Let's make it impressive by turning on or upping the number of IK segments, and you can go crazy. This is a very heavy computation it has to do here, so if your mesh is very dense, careful with this value. But I'm gonna, for the sake of showing, I'm gonna put it to 20 here, 20 IK segments. So here you can see now there's a little dot on in the middle of the mesh. What does it mean?
I'm pretty sure they can't see the dot.
They can't see the dot. Okay, so in the middle there is a dot. Maybe I can do a wireframe. Here it is.
Yeah, it's easier.
There's a dot.
Yep.
So basically, if this means that the size of the brush, it's all the way to the top of the mesh, only lets you have 2 segments. But if I make the brush smaller, you can see here that it's split in many more segments. So it actually looks better in solid. So let's see. If I move this thing, I am actually moving.
And there's no bones. There's no
rigging involved at all. So yes, you can do these crazy things. But wait, there is more. If you hold Control while moving this, while moving the, I need to set the setting here back. There's something wrong with the undo. But if I, for example, if I hold Control and move it, it's going to twist it.
Looks so good.
That's crazy.
And now we can do again.
Without Control, it's gonna move it. So how the heck do you model this without a million modifiers?
It looks so much like an ice cream. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, even without posing it, I would just do this all day. So I think it's gonna be my weekend now.
I was just walking by Julian Kasper, and then he had this open there. He was testing.
He was actually doing this.
Yeah, because this was in Blender since I think yesterday. So like, okay, hold on, please share the file and show this to Pablo.
It's awesome. So yeah, thank you, Pablo Navarro, for making it. Thank you, Julian Kasper, for showing the file. It's so simple. This is just like the actual mesh is just very dense. It's a string.
And the cool thing about that is that the sculpting pipeline in Blender is really excelling at cartoon character sculpting modeling, sculpting exploration. Like if you ask Pablo, he would say that we have the best tools in the whole market for that. I take his word for it. I don't use any other software.
Yeah, no, like just doing this is fun. Come on. The fun looks like the Debian logo. Awesome. Anyway, this is insane. It's super tentacle hand time. Yeah, okay, that's made it easier. So yeah, go tentacle crazy with this stuff. It's crazy. I hope you guys hire more talented people like Pablo. That guy is insane. Yes, actually, we are hiring.
Oh, I thought you were
bunch of
asking if
people.
you
No.
please hire more people.
Somebody mentioned like Pablo Barro. Actually, he's been hired. Also, there is a new person full time, which is Richard.
Ricardo Antalik.
Antalik, yes, he is been. He actually brought us on 2.81 the new caches for the
assistant video sequence
video
editor.
sequence editor. So he is the maintainer of the video sequence editor, and the
well, and now he's hired first to focus on the bug triaging. So he's part of the triaging team together with Germano Cavalcante, Mano Wee, and Philippe Euser.
Yeah.
And the idea is maybe next month or at some point to switch back to development and maybe try to do both of them. So because before he was working, he had like a 30-hour contract over the course of a few months. It was like a really part-time, only a few hours every month. But now he quit his old job and he's full on board with us. So welcome on board, Ricardo.
That's crazy. So he's actually quit his job to join Blender.
Yes. Well, I think he wanted to quit anyways. I think he would quit regardless, or maybe not. But we are so glad to be able to.
It's more fun to the story to
also
say.
Because in the Blender conference, Tom did promise what was video sequence and
the compositor.
Anna was compositor and multi-layer image.
The deep compositor.
I know, but everyone was talking about VSC, and then we have someone that really committed to work on that. So it's passionate about it.
So a new full-time developer for the
triaging and the video sequence editor. Speaking of triaging.
Oh, triaging. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly show the topology brush, which maybe needs a better naming, but basically allows you to slide the geometry without changing the shape. So you can do adjustments on your meshes, but it won't change the shape of it. Of the shape of your mesh. So it's pretty nice after if you have a messy or the texture, for example, are not looking nice when you did the UV, you can adjust the geometry, but without affecting your topology. That's awesome. Anyway, so you were talking about something that
I was thinking about Ed Sheeran, the shape of you, but I was talking about the tracker curfew.
All right.
Go to the code.blender.org. And we have this old post from Christmas.
I know that guy.
Did you see this video, by the way?
I saw it, yes. I'm pretty proud of you.
It was, well, it had to do without you here, Pablo.
We're hiring a community manager, by the way.
We had to improvise without you here. So the whole idea of the tracker curfew is we have way too many reports in our backlog, things that were not triaged, like over 500 reports, things that were classified as bugs in the past. However, they might not be necessarily something you're going to be working on in the upcoming months. And so we decided, you know what? It's time to...
Sorry.
There's no camera. How can
There's no camera.
Here,
there you go. Just keep talking. There is nothing wrong.
So we agreed that it's time to get the whole team involved. We are like almost 18 people, I think, working on that. And having everyone dedicating like 2 hours, 2 days every week, to be able to get over the backlog, make sure anything that's called a bug going to be worked on in 6 months or so. And that's what's the tracker curfew. So every developer has to work 2 days a week in the tracker curfew.
2 days a week?
Full time. And that involves patches a little bit. And the whole idea is to bring the number of open issues down to 200.
Oh.
So if you go to...
Yes, you can go to. I'm gonna remove your camera.
I have no idea where.
Just keep mentioning.
Can you open a new website, Pablo, called the Blender.org?
You can here.
Get involved. Thank you very much.
Where all the
Blender.org/get-involved/dashboard. There we go. So this website itself is not being very publicly announced because it's gonna change a little bit. And ignore this for now because it's outdated. Because just before the Blender.Today, I updated the graph. So what you see here is a combined number of open bugs, which are bugs that we confirmed that we're gonna be worked on. It's also anything that's in our backlog to be triaged. and anything that's not triaged. So if someone reports something, and I'm gonna make sure we have to triaged. So we started this year with 1700, and this year, like, or last Friday actually, when I started mapping this, and we now are on the 1600. And this past week, we also went over every single developer we have on board, and make sure make sure we are all on the same page. So if you check this page every day, expect these numbers to skydive and hopefully get us closer to 200. Once we get over with the whole backlog, and maybe can actually have even more days in the tracker, but not to do triaging and to manage backlog, but to actually do proper bug fixing. So I would say, if you ask me what's one of the main goals for Blender in 2020, I would say give us a more stable software and more polished, instead of just adding new fancy features on top of each other. So stay tuned.
That's crazy. Thank you for keeping talking, by the way, while I was fixing the camera. The camera overheated, and I just turned it off. It just turns off by itself. How crazy is that? That actually after 2.81, finally having the being mature enough, and it's like, no, we're not gonna add more features, more crazy features, but actually spend 2 days a week of a development time just for fixing stuff.
Yeah, it's not even fixing. That's the problem. It's even handling backlog. Just reports that maybe something that we're never going to work on in the upcoming year or 2 years. Because if you look at Campbell or Brecht, the list of assigned bugs they had was way over hundreds and hundreds. Had like 500 on Campbell. And so for the user also, once you report something, and you say, okay, it's a bug, it's confirmed, it's assigned to Campbell, and your expectations are like
super high. Yeah.
And then what? It takes 2 years and nothing happens. So that's what we're trying to work around, to say, okay, now if something is considered a bug, you can trust the development team that you're gonna try to really work on this in the upcoming release cycles.
Wow, that's crazy. So
really
really the target is to have only 200 open bugs.
Yes.
That's really low.
Which is a mix of fixing bugs and then deciding what's a bug.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit of above. So after we're done with the backlog, all we're going to be left with is the daily income of bug reports. Then it'll be triaged and classified. But then we're also going to have the proper bugs. At this moment in time, we may start a second stage of the tracker curfew, where we can maybe have more days for that, where everything we do is really going to be towards making Blender more stable, because then they're going to be really developers putting their time into bug fixing.
Yeah.
Or maybe have to raise the bar again, what you consider a bug, but we'll see. I hope to get there around February.
That's so nice. I remember actually when the target was 100.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then 150, and then 200 now. I think it's really good. Yeah, Blender is so big, so all over the place, that maybe it's a bug in, I don't know, the text editor. So it is not like it's not stopping you from.
We had a bug today, for instance. Someone was trying to do accent C, those very special Unicode characters, and it didn't show up. And the problem is, the font he was using, the Blender default font, doesn't support every single Unicode character.
Exactly. All your dingbats.
Yeah, there's a fix maybe to change the Blender default font, but we have way more important fish to fry.
Yeah. All right. So, good news, great news, new features. We didn't have enough time. We reached an hour of streaming now, but we didn't have enough time for the questions. But I'm happy that we did it. Sorry for making it on a Tuesday at 7 p.m., like 10 minutes to 10. So this next week, we're going to have a regular time, same place, same time.
What's the regular time?
Regular time is at 5 p.m. Central European time. So if you search for I think you can even Google for 5 p.m. Amsterdam. Well, now I'm in Amsterdam, so it doesn't mean Amsterdam 5 p.m. or something like that. When I'm in a different country, it would show
try
like New York. Yeah, there you go. So because I'm in Amsterdam, of course, it doesn't say it. But if you search for Amsterdam 5 p.m., for example, it's going to tell you, oh, it's actually whatever day in whatever you are. So that's a pretty nice tip. The 5 p.m. So stay tuned. Are you going to be around next week?
No, because next week is when we have the 6. No, it's 5 p.m. you said?
5 p.m.
Oh, that could be.
Maybe you can be at least for the beginning, and then I take care of
the development meetings at 6, so
maybe
get on the way.
That's pretty nice.
Start on time.
It's gonna be at 6 p.m. and then there is a change, right, for the meeting.
Yes, and the morning meeting, which is so technically the late one is so Americans can attend the meetings.
Yeah.
And Brazilians can attend the meetings, and Argentina.
Hey, all of Americas.
But then the one and the morning one is mostly for Europeans, and then we're shifting these so it starts at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So we can have, and the studio here can do like a kickoff studio-wide at 10 o'clock. So, and it's fine because it's as good as 10. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, 11 p.m. 11 a.m. CET is gonna be the ones from the Mondays morning. So the next week is actually in the afternoon. So you're gonna be around. You're gonna be able to be around. So I'm gonna next week. What?
Next week is at 6, I think.
Yeah, 6 p.m. So the 27th, which is the week after,
right.
it's gonna be at 11 CT, Central European Time.
Yes.
So there's so many other little features that I didn't have time. They're like, I like this one. I like the gizmos in the 2D editor. Yay, those little thingies.
Oh, so nice.
That's so nice. We didn't have those. So now actually, you can combine them, these ones, but so cool. Anyway, it looks like a small thing, but actually means it's a bigger scope. It means that gizmos can be drawn in 2D in a more
and tools are coming
way.
to the UV editing mode. Yeah?
Exactly. Or if you're making an add-on and want to make use of those, you can actually. So super nice. That was actually added by Campbell. You can read more of the features that were added during the last week, like the one by Pablo Barro with the IKs and changes to the industry standard key map and much more in the meeting notes section of devtalk.blender.org. For those that were missing it, you can actually go back in time to the 6th of January, 30 December. I think the 6th of January, there were also plenty updates, especially the mentioning about Richard Antalik, that was now full-time, that we just mentioned, the 2.82, 2.83 changes and updates.
I know. And that's I wrote this.
You wrote this?
Now I'm probably going to be writing every single meeting note until decide.
But you're not Jester King.
Yeah, we talked about that since we alternate 2 weeks. But now with the change, I might be sharing them. We'll see. We always welcome volunteers to write the
or
meeting notes.
make nice pictures. It's always welcome. So, okay. So we're 5 minutes past the time. Sorry for keeping you away. It's almost 8 p.m. and you're here since the morning.
No, it's fine.
Yeah? Okay. Not tired?
I am.
Okay. So it was very nice to be here to make this again. Thank you for dropping by.
It's always a pleasure.
I'm sorry about the place. You know, when you invite someone home and here is a mess, like sorry for the mess. Just ignore it. It's they're working here.
I can't wait for the new place though.
Yes, me too. I'm probably not gonna make it for next week. It's probably too early, but the week after, we're gonna have probably, I don't know, hopefully a new place where we can call home and we can personalize it better. You know, like I missed it. Like, okay, it's totally on topic. Actually, I'm not gonna talk about Blender anymore. So if you can drop the live stream. But when I look at my previous videos the other day, I was watching them. It's like I had so much crap at home in my old videos with like lights and stuff. I
still need to bring my little toys from my work desk here.
Yeah.
To get all this
your
crap
toys
in.
From
the little mini cracks. I have it here. I have it home. I just haven't.
It's like, look at so much crap. There was like Christmas lights and plants in the foreground and stuff.
The solution is the green screen.
No. Okay. Maybe the green screen. But I actually like this stuff. This
so then you can have it.
like bunch of crap. But then you have to clean it. That's true. Okay, I can make a render of this.
Just an idea.
And I was putting some advertisement, you know, the book in the background, a very diffuse, not even mentioning, then the render man here. Anyway, I think we just got carried away. Let's meet again next week.
Next week.
Same for you guys and girls. Let's,
And
meet
everything
again.
in between.
Yes, exactly. Diversity.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm
Welcome
only
back.
just very sick. I'm tired and jet lagged, but I managed. It's good that we managed to do it. Sorry for the weird time. We're going to make it up next week because we're going to meet again, 5 p.m. Central European time. Same place, same time, right?
So say we all. That's a Battlestar Galactica reference.
Nerd. Okay, so you know what I'd say now? That if you're wearing headphones, watch out. With your ears out, because in 5, 4, 3, I missed this. No, the microphone are not. We are off. Okay, so ciao. Thank you for dropping by. I'm gonna see you again next week, same place, same time, with more Blender today. Bye.